This piece of steel right here is going to become our new transmission cross member. So this would be better to make out a piece of square stock, but unfortunately I don't have any square stock, so we're going to make it out of round pipe. Now, my design that I have is a very simple design. It's just going to catch the two bolts. It's going to bend down, bend straight, come across, bend up, bend straight to catch the other two bolts, and then I'm going to build a little bracket to hold the transmission. Now, I could just run this bar straight and not put a single bend into it. There's only about a 1-inch dip that I want to do. And that would work, and it would actually give me more ground clearance, but how the transmission is sitting now, it is actually tucked up inside the frame now is what I want. But what I'm scared of is if I pull that transmission up any taller, my clearance is between the transmission tunnel and the transmission will get too small. And when the car starts to bend, the transmission will hit off the transmission tunnel and break the bell housing. And for you people that don't think that will happen, if you take a look right up there, you notice how there's a big fucking chunk missing out of the side of this transmission? It's because it's already happened once. I've already broken 2 bell housings on transmissions. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna bend this up. We're gonna try putting it in. Now the other advantage of using, this is designed to use like a 2x4 piece of steel. Now we're gonna use like a 2-inch round. So when everything decides to start bending, it will actually slide on these bolts, hopefully. And that will give us a little bit extra play until stuff starts breaking, like bell housings and transmission mounts and all that fun stuff. So let's get out the old-fashioned hydraulic pipe bender that we have and start bending this pipe up to become a transmission cross member. So now that we have the transmission cross member in the car, what we're going to do is we're just going to take this piece of angle, and what we're going to do is we're just going to basically hold it there. We're going to slide the mount up until it works. Now that's how we're going to mount our transmission. What we're going to do is we're going to clamp this here, and then we're just going to basically weld it. And before any of you guys comment, yes, that is a cut. And yes, I did measure once and cut twice, so I don't care. It works, it's in there. This is also going to strengthen up that joint right back up to its original strength. And what we'll do is we'll just weld all that in there. And then this cross member is actually only about a 2-inch pipe, and it's a 4-inch mount where the stock cross member goes in. So as the motor and transmission bends and it wants to come back, it's going to be able to slide on the stock cross members, only forward and backwards, but not side to side. So it's going to kind of hold the transmission where we want, but give it leeway as the front end starts to nose up. So I'm going to get this clamped in position. I'm going to weld this fully, and then I'm going to tack it. I'm going to take it out, weld it fully, and then put it back in and show you guys the finished product of what it's going to look like. So there you go. The transmission cross member is in completely. The mount is able to slide about 1 inch on the factory mount bolts. And then if you take a look, I did also add a chain that goes up and over the transmission. Now that's just out of my, those are the lifting lugs for my engine crane, but I really don't use them, so there's nothing better to do than use them for this. Now the reason why I bolt down the transmission is because sometimes this mount right here fails. So a nice chain holding down the transmission always will keep it where it wants to be. I've had them break in the past, but it's never too bad to add an extra source of reliability to something like this. If something breaks, there's always a fail-safe. And that's one thing I'm going to be doing a lot on this, is having fail-safes. So there's a good fail-safe that you guys can use, is chain down the transmission. Even though there's a mount, don't trust it. So there's another step done in Project Burn Barrel. Transmission cross member is now mounted in the vehicle. And if you take a look, it is actually a pretty high up transmission cross member, so it won't really get caught on anything if it drags. It's just a wee bit lower than the transmission pan. So I'm happy that's done. Let's move on to the next thing.